Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we are going to be talking about Holotype, Mesozoic North America. This is designed by Brett Hansen and Lex Terentian, and it is published by Brexwix Games.
I have said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I grew up in that very romantic time period in the 90s where Jurassic Park was all the rage. Ross was on Friends as a paleontologist. So paleontology was like one of the it jobs, right?
Yeah.
When you were in grade school and the teachers were asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? The three answers were always like astronaut, paleontologist, and like veterinarian.
Oh.
At least in my school. I don't know. Veterinarian. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're Iowans.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
But yeah, so my answer was, out of those three, at least, paleontology. So I love dinosaur-themed games. Anything about digging up bones, trying to... all that stuff, it just sparks that little bit of joy inside of old school...
It sparks joy.
This one does spark joy. So that's all about the paleontology. You are digging up bones. You are trying to find these trace fossils. You're completing all these objectives of your own, but also these public objectives. Let me give you a quick overview of how to play. All right, here is the main board setup for Holotype. Now, there are 4 different boards based off of the player count, as well as for the field advancement track, which I'll show you later, that also has different boards based off the player count. All right, so this is a worker placement style game, meaning all these different actions on the board over here can be acquired by placing one of your workers there. Now, you start off with 2 workers. You've got your main kind of tall guy over here, and also you've got your short little assistant guy. Later on, once you've accomplished 3 holotypes, you are going to unlock basically kind of a middle tier person as well, so that you can have kind of 3 actions per round. Now, the main way to get points in this game is kind of through our specimens. What those look like is basically like this. This is one of the animals that we're going to be able to make. These are different kinds of cubes it requires. 2 of the research cubes plus 2 of those blue cubes. It's going to tell us some information like what period it's from, what kind of animal it was. It's a marine animal, it's a carnivore, and also the victory points that it's going to give us once we complete it. So this will kind of be what the specimens are all about. Now, those cubes that we need to kind of build the specimen are going to come from these field expeditions. They look like something like this. So basically going to tell you, you can roll 2 of those purple dice, maybe get a trace fossil. This one would say something like get 4 of the dice, of the blue dice. This one says take 1 of the green dice, but you can re-roll it a couple of times in order to get the optimal result. So our dice over here basically have either a 1, 2, or 3 symbol, or basically one of these museum symbols over here, meaning that you can take something from over there. You're going to get a chance to roll those dice and take whatever the result is, putting it on your personal board. I mentioned the trace fossils. Those are going to come from that deck right there as a result of field expeditions, and they're basically going to be additional things that you can add on to a finished specimen. It's going to cost an additional cube, but it's going to give you some additional points as well. Maybe some restrictions, like this particular one says it cannot be used for a marine animal, but it's an additional way that gets some extra points as you're playing. Going to the museum over here is basically an opportunity to kind of swap out some of the different cubes over here with ones that are populated over here. So at the beginning of the game, there's going to be 3 greens, 2 blues, and 1 purple there. And occasionally it's going to reset as well. But basically going there gives you a chance to get some of the kinds of resources that maybe you're not getting by searching through the field expedition deck. Now, there's a couple different ways to do this field expedition deck, by the way. You can go there with one of your small guy and basically just draw a card. Or you can go there with one of your taller guys, your medium or your tall guy. You basically can draw 2 and discard one of them. Choose which one to use. Basically, every one of these specimens is going to require some of the research cubes. So going to the university library is going to give you a chance to get some cubes. The taller the guy, the more cubes you're going to get from that location. Another way you're going to get some points is you are going to get dealt at the beginning of the game these personal objectives. These are going to be based off of the specimens, the holotypes that you play down. So this particular one says, if you play 2 theropods, 2 sauropods, and 2 genosaurs, you're going to get 20 points into the game. Or this one says, basically, the more carnivores you play, the more points you're going to get. So those are the different kinds of personal objectives you might be given, basically trying to drill down on various kinds of dinosaurs. There's also global objectives across here as well. Those global objectives are going to be based off of a cumulative number from every player. It might say things like get some points based off of having 4 Triassic holotypes, or 4 Jurassic holotypes, or 9 Cretaceous holotypes, or whatever the case is. And if you are able to use only your own cards that you have played, it's actually a free action. However, if you are going to use Other people's as well. Let's say you've played 2 Triassic, and you're going to use, maybe Bethany also had 2 Triassics out there. You'd have to pay 5 research cubes in order to kind of borrow her research in order to finish that off. So those are kind of the main ways you're going to get victory points from the specimens themselves, maybe with the help of some trace fossils, your own personal objectives, plus the global objectives. And now let's take a look at the personal player boards. Over here we have the field advancement track, I kind of mentioned it earlier. Basically, anytime anyone plays a holotype, this is going to get moved up. If you get to one of the multiples of 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, you're basically going to rearrange the museum collection. Basically going to refresh what cubes are sitting in the museum that you can use. But also, every once in a while, in this case, multiples of 6, you have the 6, 12, 18, you're going to have this little star symbol. Once you get to one of those, that's going to trigger a milestone advancement. So over here on our personal player board, we have this little stack of advancements over here. So basically, whenever we get to one of those little green stars on the board, we get a chance to kind of go through our stack and choose a milestone advancement that we're going to be able to use the rest of the game. We have a little storage area over here. It is limited, but so maybe you want to add some to your storage. So you can put that there, or there's a whole bunch of other different benefits. Further on you go throughout the game, the more achievements you're going to unlock. You also do have unlimited research token storage over here. Over here we have our global objective contributions. So those purple cards, those global contributions, whenever you place one from those, you're basically going to take this cube, or this circle, this disc, you're going to take it off there and reveal victory points. So the more of those global contributions you do, the more points you're going to get. You're going to get the right most value at the end of the game. In this case, you'll be getting 26 points, which is huge. And don't forget, we also have our extra worker over here. You're not going to be able to unlock that character until you have at least 3 of the holotypes played in front of you. The end of the game is going to be triggered once our little marker there is going to move all the way to the end of the track. And again, based off the number of players, this track is going to be longer or shorter. And once that game track is ended, we're going to count up all of our victory points from all our different locations, and whoever has the most points wins the game.
I thought this game scaled really nicely for the player count. Every player count has its own board, and so I like that it still made it really tight in the game, but when you have more player counts, there's more options while also still being tight at the same time. So I just thought it scaled really well regardless of how many people were playing.
I love worker placement style games, and this had a cool thing going on where there was basically small, medium, and large workers. They all meant different things as far as within the field of paleontology, but I liked having these restrictions as far as when my small guy went to a place, it only got some certain kind of abilities or resources, but when my bigger guy went there, it had better versions of those same actions. Or it could also kick people out in this game. And when you're kicking people out, only the more advanced people in the field were able to do that. So you couldn't have the little guy going along and being like, hey, Dr. Paleontologist dude.
Dr. Paleontologist dude.
Get out of here, it's my turn. You couldn't do that. But of course the doctor himself could say, you get out of there.
Yeah.
So I liked how that worked within the worker placement style game, and it also worked thematically as well. How you're moving around taking these actions, and how the better, taller, more educated individuals got better versions of the actions.
I've decided that in gameplay, something that's really important to me, only because I mention it in so many of our reviews, is the pacing of a game that I guess means a lot to me, and I liked the pacing in this game. So you start the game and you only have those 2 workers, and as the game is progressing, you're playing more of those, like the animals that you're researching, the dinosaurs that you're researching. And so as you're doing that, the track goes along and you get another person, you get extra abilities where you can score, you get extra goodies. So you start with a little, the game progresses and you get more, you're able to do more. And then also you can see how close the game is to ending based on those tracks, the shared tracks or the track. So I don't feel like it just ended. I felt like I could plan and prepare for that. So I just really liked the pacing of this game and how it progressed.
I really enjoyed the field expedition cards. I felt like the dice were thematic, right? So you flip over a card, or maybe multiple cards, depending on who went there, what actions we were taking, all that kind of stuff. But basically, the card would tell you how many dice you got to roll, of what kind you got to roll, and whether or not you got to re-roll them, and then also whether or not they came with a trace fossil or not. So you had all these different random variables, but they were all positive. They were all good things. You just didn't know how much or what exactly you were going to get. And on top of that, that makes perfect sense within the thematic tie-ins of, digging for fossils. You don't know exactly what you're going to find. You don't know what conditions they're going to be in. You don't know whatever the case is. So I really like digging for those cards, kind of setting you up your turns, getting you what you need, but then also you're not exactly sure what you're going to do. You can try to mitigate that a little bit, but you don't know.
Overall, I really enjoyed this game. I actually learned it. I don't know why that happened. Ryan typically reads the rule books for all of us because everybody needs a Ryan in their life that does that. I don't know why rule books are intimidating to me, but for some reason, it just wasn't planned. I learned this game, and I was able to learn it, and I was able to teach it because I thought the rule book was laid out pretty clearly. I think I only referenced it once or twice once we were playing. So I really liked that it was easy for me to learn. It was easy for me to teach, and that the theme was really fun.
I agree. Because I didn't learn the game, I usually like to know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And I didn't read the rulebook. Bethany did. Her teacher was good. But also there's a great reference on the back of the rulebook.
Yeah.
It kind of tells you all the different icons that you might come across and what to do with them, which, even though I didn't read the rulebook, I felt like I knew the rules because between the teach and between that reference, I had everything I needed to go.
Yeah.
I liked the way the mechanics tied in with the theme of this game. Those blended together very well, and also brought back that childlike wonder in old Ryan. So yeah, this is a fun one. This is one that we're going to be able to play with our kids when they're starting to learn more about the dinosaurs and the different eras, the Cretaceous period and the Triassic period and whatever else is going on, Once they're learning about that in school, this will be one that we'll definitely be playing with them and giving them some hands-on experience.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.